And then we're going to go ahead and jump into this presentation today. So how charge automation provides a 5-star guest experience. So I'm joined here today with Marcos from the Hostfully team. We're also joined in with Thomas and Toyin from the charge automation team. So here's a little bit about Hostfully. Hostfully helps vacation rental managers run their business and provide 5-star hospitality. We do this through 2 different offerings. So the first one is our property management platform, where we work with different OTAs such as like Airbnb, Vrbo, Booking.com, Google Vacation Rentals. We also have a unified inbox, and this is where you're able to go in and automate messages, whether it be text messages, emails, platform messages. We also provide you with a direct booking site, options to do payment processing through our platform, as well as you can run reports and have some analytics on this information as well. Now, once we hop over to our other offering, which is our digital guidebooks, you'll see that this is where you get to boost the guest experience. You're going to cut down a lot of those communications with your guests, and you're able to upsell products and services for extra income. There's also a feature where you can go in and collect those guest emails, have them sign agreements, and this is going to lead to more 5-star reviews from your guests. So here you'll see this is our property management platform. We have won some awards. So our latest ones being the Keystone Awards in 2021 and the Shorties Award in 2022 for the best property management software in the industry. And then here's a little look on our guidebooks and what it would look like if you were to pull it up on a mobile device. And here's a review from one of our customers, Erica, who's totally blown away by the guidebook platform. She said it saved her so much time. It's super professional, and it's a modern way to present this to her guests. And here you'll see that we provide resources for you guys. So reports and webinars we have pretty frequently. You guys can use this QR code, and that'll kind of lead you to that information. And we will go ahead and pass this over to the charge automation team. So go ahead and take it away, guys.
All right. Thank you, Megan, for the introduction. So I'm just going to share my screen on my side here so I can continue. All right. And share. All right. Everybody can see my screen here? Let me.
Yep.
All right. Perfect. Okay. So I'm going to be talking about how to create the perfect 5-star guest experience using your charge automation. A quick background about myself. I started operating as a short-term rental operator back in 2010. I had about 10 properties, and over the years, I scaled to over 200 properties under management. And the properties were located across the city, and we implemented a self-check-in tool because a lot of properties were everywhere, and we just didn't have the capacity to check everybody in person. And the biggest challenge at the time that I was having when I was scaling was fraudulent bookings and guests that led to chargebacks, guests throwing parties, trashing the properties, because we had no way of verifying who was staying at the property because it was self-check-in. So being that I'm a computer engineer by education, I built a clever tool that allowed me to collect the guest payment if I have to collect the payment from the guest, secure the deposit to protect the property from being damaged. And at the same time, it was verifying the guest and the payment to make sure that it's not fraudulent guests. And by implementing this tool, our operation became a lot smoother. And people in the industry and people around me that were in operation start asking if they can use the software. So people, and I started allowing people to use it. And before we knew it, it was expanding everywhere. And right now it's being used by over 30,000 properties across the globe. And I'll talk more about it. But before that, I want to, tell you a bit about why charge automation exists and what's the use of charge automation when it comes to giving you a 5-star guest experience to your guest and making your life easier. So being that I've managed so many properties and I've helped other people also manage their operations, there are a few common problems that hosts experience as they on their daily operation when it comes to guest communication. So the first one is confusing check-in process. Okay, so lack of standard process. Unlike hotels that often have standard check-in process, vacation rentals properties can have diverse procedures, varying property to property based on the booking source and based on the property, and yet it requires different ways of checking in. There is a language barrier. So if a guest is traveling from a country where they're not familiar with the language, and your check-in instruction is in English and they don't understand English well, that could be lost in frustration and confusion during the check-in process. That will allow, they'll have to call you and speak to you and get assistance, and it doesn't lead to a good guest journey. And you may have requirement before the guest check-in. So some properties require ID, some properties require access code before you can release, before you can release the access code, you want to collect this information. And if it's not streamlined and it's not a standard process, then guests can also get confused because they want to get the access code, but they're stuck because you withhold this information pending something else. The other problem that's happening is the very fragmented guest journey. So as opposed to hotels, in the VR vacation rental and short-term rental industry, guests are receiving way too many emails and links. So guests are receiving up to 10 emails and SMSs and 5 different links. It could be, hey guest, here's your verification link. Here's your access code link. Here's your guidebook link. Here's your upsell link. Here's your deposit payment link. Links, and then it's fragmented all over. And when the guest wants to get the information, they have to traverse through so many things to know which one they're supposed to follow. Now, the guest is trying to enjoy their vacation or their trip, and they're not there to think. They don't want to think. So if you expect them to do a lot of the heavy lifting on their side, then you're obviously not creating a 5-star guest experience. The other problem is cost. So as an operator, manually collecting payment balance, security deposit is very resource intensive, and it can risk for you with you getting not paid. It could obviously lead also to loss of revenue. And even if you collect the payment, because you're not doing any authentication or verification of that payment itself, that could lead to fraud and chargebacks. And fraud and chargebacks are significant in the industry. It's usually about 5 to 6%. So it's a significant part of your revenue if you're not doing those kind of prevention. And the last challenge is missed opportunities for you as a host. And the opportunities that you're missing out is that a guest wants to buy a service that you're offering, but there's no simple way of offering the upsell services that you have. So if the guest has to message you and have 5-6 times back and forth communication just for them to be able to buy a service, that's a lot of friction that you're creating for the guest to be able to buy the service. So by giving them the Amazon experience where they just one-click purchase, that makes the guest more willing to buy the service because it's so easy to buy, and it also makes the whole journey much easier and obviously increases your bottom line revenue. So these are the overall problems. Now, just a bit about charge automation. We were founded in 2015 officially. We currently operate in 40 plus countries in 40 plus languages. So far, we've processed over 600 million in bookings and upsells through charge automation. And over 500,000 people have checked in using the charge automation check-in tool. So it's widely used across the world, and I'll talk more about it in the next slides. So what we believe at charge automation is that guest check-in should be smooth and flawless. And the guest journey starts when the guest makes a booking. So they can book from any booking source, could be Airbnb, Booking.com, any source, and all the way until check-in, until checkout. You want to control that journey. And charge automation essentially, everything that happens in between, whether it's payments, pre-arrivals, and upsells, and guidebooks, it streamlines them and kind of they skip all this into one journey for the guest. and I'll talk more about it and give you a demo as well afterwards. Just to not confuse you here. Now, what we do at the end is that we help you increase your guest experience and help you increase your bottom line revenue while maintaining an efficient, frictionless operation. So whether you're scaling or you want to build a streamlined process, charge automation is a solution that's getting adopted by a lot of hosts. And the way we do that is we allow you to collect basic information like name and email from the guest, arrival time, ID and verification, reservation payment and security deposit, allowing the guest to buy upsells, and then they can accept your terms and conditions and electronically sign the contract that you have if you have any. And once they've completed all these steps required in a simple, journey, one journey, then the guest will land on a personal guest portal. And this guest portal allows them to access guidebooks, access information, all those things, which I'll show you in a demo as well, in a live demo. Now, let's start with how this works. So when a guest makes a booking through any platform, the booking arrives on your Hostfully, and from Hostfully, Charge Automation picks up that reservation, and it creates a unique link for that guest, and the link gets sent to the guest via different ways, which I'll discuss. So this is an example here. We have Casa Villas. Hello, Lisa. Thank you for your reservation, and we look forward to your arrival. To ensure fast and smooth experience, complete your pre-check-in. Okay, this is an email that gets sent to the guest. You can obviously customize the content, and you can choose to have this message be sent by email, by SMS, or through the Hostfully unified messaging system. So one way or the other, the guest will be able to get this pre-check-in message. And there is reminders that get sent out automatically. You can configure it in the back end where the guest, or you can configure, follow up every 3 days or 1 day before check-in. You can customize when the follow-up should happen if the guest has not completed the pre-check-in. So that way, when they're checking in, everything's done and becomes a very smooth process. The email or the SMS message includes a private guest link, which is generated for each reservation. And the private guest link is deactivated once the guest checks out. So once they check out, that link is expired. The guest cannot go back and access it. And that way you protect the information. It's not just out there in the open world. Next, so the guest is going to click complete pre-check-in. And they will land on a web page that looks like this, that has the property names and a quick summary of the reservation. Now, some of the features on this page is that it's mobile friendly, so they can open it in mobile or desktop. There's no app to download or to register needed, so it makes it very frictionless. They click and then they already land on that page. It's customizable with your own brand, and the branding could be company or property. Like if you're a big brand and you have one umbrella brand, you can use that as a branding for the guest journey. But if the guests are not familiar with the branding and you rather use the property name and brand, you can also use property branding. So the guest is familiar when they see it, they know they're accessing the right information or they're at the right place. It is auto-translated, so you can see here it's in English, but if the guest was to open it and they speak French, it will detect the language and it will open up in French or Spanish, whatever it is, it will automatically open up in the language of the guest, and that makes it very easy for them to understand. Every guest activity is tracked, so you can always see if the guest has opened it, have they read it, have they completed the pre-check-in. All that information is tracked, and it's also posted to your Hostfully. Now, once they click Start Pre-Check-In here, the first step is confirm the information that's already with the reservation. So we pull the first name, email address, phone number of adults. This is obviously customizable on your choices, but some of the key features here is that this could be collected. You can choose to collect this information only for the primary guest or all guests. If you have city requirements or government requirements to collect all guest information, you can configure that in the back end. the cool part is that this email here, if we detect that it's an alias email like Lisa@Airbnb or at booking.com, we know that it's a masked email address, and it will strip it out and force the guest to put the real email address, and that allows you to have that email address either for verification or to send marketing emails in the future as well. This information is exportable, so you can export it if you choose to, or we also push it to your PMS as well, to Hostfully, so you'll be able to see the same information that's updated here on your Hostfully. Now, once they verify this, Lisa will click Save and Continue. Okay. Now, this is the payment summary section. So if you are collecting a payment directly from the guest will be able to, give me a second. Yeah, the guest will be able to make a payment here. They can see in this case here, the first payment's already collected. The balance is scheduled to be charged on a future date, and security deposit of $300 is scheduled to be charged 1 day before check-in. So the guest knows what to expect. But if this was like an Airbnb booking where you're not collecting a payment or security deposit, this page would not be visible because there's no payment to be collected from that guest in that case. So it's customizable in that sense. Some of the features of this page is that you don't have to chase guests for payments because this will automatically send reminders, failed payment reminders to the guest. If the payment had failed or you need a credit card or any of that information, it will do that automatic chasing for you. You don't have to handle any cash, which a lot of VRs don't do these days anyway. We can validate the credit card as well. So if let's say you get a reservation today, but the payment is not due until next month, but you want to make sure that the credit card they used to reserve the place is valid credit card, you can have that set so it will test the card to make sure it's valid. So when the time comes to charge, that it is a real card, it's not a fake card, for example. You can split the guest payment. As you can see here, we have the first and the balance, and you can also have if there's tourist tax or resort fee that was not collected from at the time of booking, either through the OTA or directly, then you can also collect that during the guest journey here as well. Obviously, like I said, we have failed payment reminders, and we can report invalid cards to the guests. So if the payment fails, the guests will get notification. They come back to this link that they provided, and they'll be able to simply edit the credit card, make the changes, update, and then complete the payment. Or they can add another credit card on file as well. All right. This information syncs with Hostfully in real time, so the information is always synchronized. And the best part is that we have over 120 payment gateway we integrate with. So these payments you see here are not collected by Charge Automation. It's actually you connect to your payment processor, whether it's Stripe or any other payment processor that you're using. I know there's a lot of people in South America or whatever. If you were to collect the payment through your processor, just connect that, and the money goes straight to your bank account. And the best part is that it's chargeback and chargeback protected in a sense that we verify every payment so that you will never get charged back on the payment that you collect. So you can sleep at night knowing that this is a safe payment that you receive, that you won't be getting chargebacks on it when the guest checks out, and specifically fraudulent chargebacks. And you have all the payment revenue insight on the dashboard. You could probably also see this on your Hostfully as well. And it's a PCI compliance, so you're not collecting the guest credit card over the phone, by email, or some PDF. You are securely collecting the guest credit card in a PCI compliant manner. Just share the guest link, and then they will be able to complete this without you. So it keeps you and the guest safe. Now, once the guest completes, once they complete this page here, there's nothing to be done in this case. They can save and continue. And here we have a form. Actually, give me a second. Actually, I forgot to talk about security deposit here, which is very important. A lot of you are collecting security deposit. So if you see here, it says when the guest may have a question, what is a deposit? How does it work? they can just click on this tooltip and it's going to say, to confirm your reservation, refundable secure deposit of $300 is required. A temporary hold of $300 will be replaced on your card, and this is not a charge, and it should disappear from your bank after the guest checks out. So the guest doesn't have to ask you about this, because they know exactly when it's going to be charged and when it's going to be released. And some of the key features of the pre-authorization or secure deposit is that it is in a form of pre-authorization, which means that we hold the deposit, we don't charge it, because if we charge it, you have to refund it, which costs you a fee, or whether you pay Stripe 3% or whatever that may be, that Stripe charges you or your payment processor. By pre-authorizing, it's not considered a transaction or a charge, so you don't pay any transaction fee to your payment processor. So it is the best way to hold secure deposit. One feature that you get with us that you don't get with anybody else is that we have extended 30-day deposit hold period. So with any other way of collecting secure deposit, it's 7 days by default. But with us, you get 30-day hold, which means that if the guest is staying for 2 weeks, you're safe because the deposit covers for the longer stay. The other benefit is that this deposit collection is customizable by the property. So you may have property A is only $300 deposit, but property B is $500. So you can customize how much deposit it should be per property. You can schedule the deposit authorization date and release date. So that way, you can say collect deposit 1 day before check-in, or 2 days before check-in, or the day of check-in. So you don't have to manually do this. It will automatically do it on the date it's supposed to be collected or authorized. If there's a damage when the guest checks out, you can capture partial or full payment. So let's say you have a $300 deposit, but the guest broke a $50 vase. You can capture the $50 and then refund the rest, release the rest back to the guest. You also eliminate fraud and chargeback. What I mean by that in this case is we make sure that the guest who is giving you the credit card for the deposit is validated, so they're not using some stolen credit card to put a hold on the property that would expose you. We authenticate the card holder, so that way you know that it's a legitimate and authorized credit card that's going to be used for this deposit. Like I said, you save transaction fee because it's a pre-auth and as opposed to a charge and a refund. And you don't have to chase for deposits, because on the due date, it's going to charge it automatically. And if the deposit authorization fails on the day it's supposed to be collected, a link will be sent to the guest where they come back and then they add the credit card or a new card, which will allow it to go through. So that saves you all the hustle. Save and continue to next page. This is a form that we have they can create, and this form allows you to essentially ask the guest any question that you have. It could be, what do you have pets? Or are you bringing any pets? What kind of trip is this? Do you want the pool heat turned on? Any question that you want to collect pre-arrival from the guest. That's a good way to use this custom form to do that. It's customizable per property and per booking source, because not every question applies to every property. So it's going to allow you to customize each question per property. So only the question that applies to that property are asked to the guest. All the guest responses are posted back to your PMS. You can also export the response in the CSV file if you want to. If you need to do that for anything else, you can just go collect this information as well. Next is guest verification. If you want to collect photo ID of the guest, they can just simply take a picture and submit. And if you're also collecting a selfie, they can take a selfie and submit. Now, some of the features on the guest verification is that you can collect driver license, passport, or photo ID. You can customize what to collect from the guest. It could be for the primary guest only, or primary and all other guests. Again, this is customizable by property. And one really cool feature is that you have the ability to skip ID collection if a guest is a specific nationality. So let's say that if the guest is from UK, they don't have to pay security. They don't have to submit their ID. then you can configure that so the UK nationals, they don't submit their passport, for example. This is very popular in a lot of regions around the world where requirements, this is not required for their local guests. And the last part is you can accept or reject submitted documents. So if the guest submits a blurry ID, this is what's going to look on your dashboard. You can simply click action and approve or reject that submitted document, and you could put a reason why you're rejecting it, and the guest will get the notification that's been declined or rejected, and they will be able to go back, click on the link, go back, and then resubmit a valid one. After this, the guest will click submit and continue, and they will land on the upsell section. Now, on the upsell section is where a lot of hosts are making a lot of extra revenue. Typically, people who use charge automation are earning about $40 per booking in additional upsell income. So these upsells are curated by property and the guest preference. There's auto reminders that get sent to the guest. So maybe 2 days before check-in, you can say send the guest a reminder to buy an early check-in or airport pickup or any service that you provide. This is fully customizable by you. So and you can configure when the reminders get sent out to the guest to increase the upsell. We give it templates as well, so you can choose a template of our own, or you can just create your own template to sell any upsell you offer at your property. You can improve occupancy with a room upgrade type of upsell. This is if you operate like hotel style or multi-unit in an apartment. You can sell higher value units if they are available. And we have one-click purchase, which increases by your conversion rate by 15 to 20%. So this is what I say by Amazon experience. The guest simply just selects which ones they would like to buy. And we have the credit card already on file from the previous stages. So the guest simply selects and buys. So that's a one-step process. And that really converts a lot. And this is why a lot of property managers are earning a significant amount using upsells. Some of the customization options that you have with our upsells is that you can customize the upsell to be available at only specific stage of the guest journey. So make it available only pre-arrival, during stay, or post-stay. You can make it seasonally available. So if you have upsells that you only offer, jet ski on summertime, you can restrict it to be seasonally available. You can put a minimum time to order. So if you need to say 24 hours to be able to fulfill that request, you could put that as well. You could do pricing based on the booking amount. It could be based on the number of nights they're staying, or it could be by quantity or fixed pricing. So you have every possible way of pricing your upsells. And you can also do mandatory upsell, like tourist tax. So as you can see at the top here, tourist tax is mandatory for that city. And Booking.com doesn't collect it maybe perhaps, so you can collect that as part of the pre-check-in experience. Okay, and the last part is upsell by request. This is a very popular feature. So some upsells like early check-in, you can see it says here by request. What that means is the guest, when they buy, it comes to you as a request, and you can accept or decline based on what you can fulfill on that for that upsell. And I think, and if you decline that upsell request, it will send automatic notifications to the guests so they're aware. You can customize the type of message they receive, or you can also just do ad hoc type, like you can write the reason, so that way, you have your own wording, or we have pre-template words that you can just use to send why the upsell is declined. And once the guest completes this, they click continue. And the last step is review and sign. Now, this is where the guest confirms what they have completed, and everything looks good. They can e-sign, accept terms and conditions of the property, and complete pre-check-in. Okay. One thing I want to mention is that once they sign this, they can also download this agreement for them to save it. You can also download this e-signed contract as well for yourself in case you want to, you have any disputes. You have this information accessible as well. And once they click complete pre-check-in, the guest is done pre-check-in and is preparing the guest portal. And here's the guest portal. So now the guest has already completed what's required. Now they get, the carrot at the end, which is, the information they need to access the property. So we have arrival instruction, Wi-Fi, door code, breakfast. You can add anything else that you want here. And the guest can also access your payments and receipts, reservation details, and you can still upsell some of your, recommended services here as well, so they can come and buy at any point. Maybe they want to buy a late checkout the day before checkout, so they can come in and do those things as well. So you're upselling the guests at every stage of the journey. Some of the key features about the guest portal is that, you can have check-in instructions and guest manuals. So I've noticed what a lot of Hostfully users are doing right now is that in this information here, arrival instruction, they're putting in the Hostfully guidebook guest portal. So when the guest accesses information from here, as opposed to emailing to them and getting lost in the shuffle of the email. Access code, Wi-Fi, and password can be input here or on the Hostfully. Obviously, they can buy upsells. There's also live chat options. So there's usually a chat icon here that will allow the guests to chat with you if they have any questions. Receipts and payments history. You can upload photos, videos, virtual tools, recommendations, local maps, and tourist guides. But my favorite feature of all this is actually displaying the information in the guidebook only when certain conditions are met, such as security deposit. So what I mean by that is, to give you a real example, the guest is on this page and he wants to get the access code. He'll click here and it's going to say, this information will be available 6 hours before check-in and all requirements are met. So the guest knows that he cannot get access code at this time because it hasn't met the conditions and it's not 6 hours before check-in. In the back end, when you configure it, what you could do is you could say, share this access code only when the guest has already paid their security deposit, their ID is verified, and it's 6 hours before check-in. So you put conditions, and only at that point the guest will be able to read it. Let's say they come to the Wi-Fi. It says this information will be available 1 day before check-in. So again, the guest knows that, so they don't have to bother you. They don't have to communicate with you. Can I get the Wi-Fi? Can I get the access code? Because it will be available at the appropriate time. And again, you're not giving out every information up front in a static way, because that may expose you to things you don't want. So for security reasons, you redact some information until the guest has met or have fulfilled some of the conditions required for them to be able to access information. In terms of integration, like I mentioned, we have over 120 payment gateway integrations. So you can choose your payment processor to allow you to collect the payments and upsells or security deposit through your preferred payment method. We integrate obviously with Hostfully as your PMS. Again, payment gateway, and we integrate with smart locks. So if you want to pull the smart lock code into the door code here, and it will be released at a certain time, that also you have that capability as well. We are PCI level 1 PCI compliant, so every information or sensitive data that's being collected is stored in a PCI compliant manner, and we are GDPR compliant, and so allowing you to securely control and delete data at any time you want. You're in control of your data, and we're reliable. We have average uptime of almost 100%, so it's always available for your guests and for you to be able to manage your operations. Plans. So we have a very exciting, and I'm not sure if you're aware, is that we have 3 different plans essentially, but for Hostfully users today, we have special pricing, and I'll tell you a bit about it shortly. So we have a basic, which gives you an essentially free, and essential is $39 plus $2 per unit monthly, and the professional is $100 plus $4 per unit monthly. The difference is that there's a few differences, but the main ones are you get 1 user here, you get 10 users here, and unlimited users. And there's also a limit on storage that you can have in terms of guest information, guest data. So we are giving all Hostfully users who sign up in the next 30 days. Once you connect your Hostfully, you automatically get, even on the basic plan, you get the professional plan. So you get unlimited users and unlimited storage for people to use it. So what that means that you can go ahead and collect pre-arrival and information and guest journey, and it will not cost you any subscription fee. And there's no limit on number of users and storage you can have. Other than that, let's see. Next steps is, if you want to contact us, you can again go to our website, chargeautomation.com, and sign up. And you can start for free. There's no credit card required. And if you need help, again, there's you can contact us at success@chargeautomation.com, or you can just use a chat feature on our website, and someone will be able to assist you. Again, this is a great way to make your guests happy and make your life easier. And I hope you find that information useful. And thank you for listening.
Thank you so much, Thomas, for that. That was definitely super helpful. I'm sure a lot of people that were able to tune in today got a lot out of that. We do have some questions. Toyin, did we get all of those questions answered in the chat, or do you have any outstanding ones that you want to make sure that we cover?
Yes. Thank you so much. I answered most of them. Thank you so much for the opportunity. Mariana and Thomas, I guess we can just talk. I answered most of them, but we can just talk about some of them. So the first question from Marianne Jacobs is, how can guests make multiple purchases with one payment in the marketplace and in the guidebook? It seems like multiple purchases with one payment can only be done at checkout. And the answer to this, Marianne, is it's possible on both the pre-check and the guidebook. All you have to do is select one of many upsells, and they can proceed and do the payment like a cart, right? And I'm pretty sure Thomas shared that on the demo. Thomas, anything else you want to add to that?
Yeah, exactly. It's just like adding a cart, so they can select which ones they want or add to cart, and there's going to be a checkout where they can pretty much check out with a credit card on file or change a new credit card.
Awesome. Thank you, Thomas. The second question from Marianne, same person, so thank you so much for your questions, is please explain how the collection of guest ID and selfies are done smoothly without being intrusive. And as you saw in the demo Thomas was showing, it's pretty simplistic, right? They click on the image. With the part of without being intrusive, I guess asking for those details and letting them know it's needed is kind of the way we do it. But yeah, if Thomas can go back to the demo, that'll be perfect. Yes.
So to make it not intrusive is really, some hosts are surprisingly still asking for IDs to be sent by email, which is very intrusive and very non-secure way of doing that. But by building it on the guest flow, and you having your own brand, and knowing that it's not just stored in your inbox, but it's stored in a secure environment, gives the guest the feel that's safe, generally. And obviously, you may have requirements to collect this information. So this is a much frictionless and easier way to do it than any other method of collecting ID and selfie.
Awesome. Thank you. Another question. Alexandra Colandria. I apologize if I didn't say that correctly. The question is, hey Thomas, can you tell me which payment processes work in Costa Rica? I can take that one. Oh,
go ahead.
Okay. Yeah. We're actually right now working on integrating with Telepay, which is a very prominent gateway in that area, and we also integrate with CyberSource, which you can so we can definitely. You can contact us directly. We can kind of tell you other ones we work with. But right now, it's the two options that come up to the top of my head is Telepay and CyberSource. Let me see another question. Okay, so this one is from Kay Schaefer. It says, if you rent 3 to 6 months rentals in between seasons, can you set up triggers each month for payments to be collected prior to the month? And this is a good question, great question. We actually talked about this morning. Yes. And there's a couple of ways. And not to get too technical on the call, I also put the link where you can book a call with us. We can walk you through that. But on a high level, on the booking, you can create additional charges on the booking, right? And you can set it up where the payments get charged when you want them to be charged, right? And we also have another feature called payment request, where you can set up payment schedules, right? And like I said, I don't want to get too technical with that right now, so we can definitely hop on the call. And anyone that has a question about the inner workings that wants to get more in depth, we can definitely set up a call and show you how that works. But the short answer is yes, it's possible for you to do this.
And some
Anything?
big
Yeah, go ahead.
advantage is that we're offering completely free onboarding support. So if you need help, someone to come on and help you set up and configure your journey, it's completely free. So, and this is a part of the pro features as well. So if you want to take advantage of that, book a call, get all the help you need at no cost, essentially.
Correct. Yes, great point. Free is always good. I love free. Another question from Louisa Davis is that the question is, how do reviews work on the site? Can we transfer current reviews, and do we have control to adjust reviews? Great question. Right now on our platform, we're actually working. It's something we've been talking about building is review system. But right now it's not currently in charge animation. That's not our focus, but it's something that we've spoken a lot about. I'm the head of product, so I I get a lot of requests, and we're always looking to build more stuff. So it's something we'll definitely take note of. So thank you so much for that suggestion. Another question is one more question about payment processes in other locations. What about the Caribbean? I know that's a wide area, but it's a good one to know. Thanks again. Yes, Alexandria, we do have a couple of options in Caribbean. I think it would be better to kind of hop on the call, see exactly what your region is, and that way we can suggest other payment processes that would work for you. So again, maybe where can I post the link for the call? Let me just see where I can post it. I'm expecting a lot of calls after this to to build that interest, but I'm gonna just send you. So I sent you a link. Please set up a call with our support team. We're always here to help out. And Thomas said it's free to onboard. It's free to give you those suggestions. So take advantage of it, right? Take advantage of that. I don't see any other questions. Um, yeah, I don't see any questions on my end. So please, if anyone has any other questions, we're here to answer questions. I'll pass it back to Megan, I guess, to take it from
Yeah.
here.
Yeah.
Awesome.
And I'm sure like as you guys continue to process this information, more questions will come up 10 minutes from now, 15 minutes from now. So what we're going to do is we're going to reach out to you guys via email with all this information. We can put you in touch with the charge automation team as well. And I will be reaching out from the Hostfully team. So we can take that information if you guys have any time where you want to set up some time to chat and learn more about either one of our platforms. We are happy to do that. So yeah, we're going to go ahead and cut this a little short. Like I said, we'll be reaching out later today. It was great getting to chat with everyone. Thomas, Toyin, thank you guys so much for everything.
Thank you, Megan. Thank you, Marcos.
Yeah, for sure.
Thank
I
you.
hope everyone has a great rest of your day,
Thank you,
and
everyone.
you will be hearing from me soon.
Okay. Thank you. Bye.